Hello,
Hi.
this is Cliff Rose. How and when did your passion for advertising start?
Well, like most people in this country, I grew up sitting in front of a television set, and our parents would be watching television shows, and I grew up watching those television shows and watching all the commercials that appeared on those television shows. And from a very young age, I was intrigued with advertising and marketing and how it was impacting me. And I always thought, boy, I'd love to get into advertising and marketing. And I think it started when I was watching television shows from a very young age with my parents.
Wonderful. Where do you see yourself and the Concept to Market Institute in 5 years?
Wow, interesting question. Um, I think the Concept to Market Institute at MUM has tremendous potential because this type of a course isn't really taught at universities around the country. This is different than a traditional entrepreneurship course, which is mostly taught out of a book. This teaches students how to identify their unique ideas and how to develop those ideas and cultivate and incubate those ideas and turn them into real world products. And then we'll introduce those products after we develop them into the worldwide marketplace. So in 5 years, I think this institute will have 4 or 5 interns working in the institute. I think we could have 20 to 50 students every semester taking the Concept to Market Institute. So I think it's going to be a tremendous part of the growth of MUM.
Great. Have you always been entrepreneurial? Have you had earlier entrepreneurial experiences?
My father was an entrepreneur. He and his brothers owned a series of gas stations in St. Louis when I was growing up. And one of the problems that I saw was when they were working on a car and they had it on the lift and they were waiting for an auto part. And so I thought, wouldn't it be neat if a whole inventory of auto parts, starters, alternators, water pumps, master cylinders, ignition parts, would be in a garage or a gas station so they were readily available for the mechanic. And so I thought this would be a unique idea. The only problem was I had no money, but at the time, but I convinced a man who owned a auto parts distribution company to back me in this idea, and I started it, and it caught on. And within about 4 or 5 years, it was one of the largest wholesale distributorships of auto parts in the Midwest.
Wow, that's amazing. How do you compare teaching business with working in advertising? Which do you like better?
Well, I love advertising and marketing. I love creating uh, television and radio and print, newspaper and magazine advertising and websites, and seeing the impact that it has right away on the consumer's response. And so I love advertising, but I also love teaching. It's thrilling for me to be able to work with young, dynamic, creative students. And fortunately, I get the best of both worlds because we're developing products and advertising together. So I still get to keep my fingers on the pulse of the advertising and marketing and working with young students at the same time. So I like them both. And I'm very fortunate that I get to do them both together.
Great, thank you so much.